My husband and I decided a few years ago that when we did decide to dial it down, there were some things that we wanted to achieve. And one of them was living mortgage free, living minimally, and having the ability to travel more. We decided a couple of years ago to go ahead and downsize. And we've had this teeny tiny little condominium on the west side of Cleveland for over 30 years. And believe it or not, we had the same tenant for 34 years. But my husband convinced me that we ought to try really living minimally. And we went from living in a home that was altogether about 2,500 square feet to our teeny tiny studio, which is 400 square feet.
Okay, so like, I think even in our early days of a studio apartment, like 400.
It's tiny. It's tiny.
So was it hard? How'd you make that transition and that big, a family of history?
Right.
How do you make that transition?
And we had been in our house for about 18 years, and we lived in South Euclid for about 30. It was a big transition moving from one part of Cleveland to another. But the biggest task was the time it took to get rid of all of the stuff that we had accumulated in 30-some years of marriage, raising 3 sons who were very active and involved and had camping equipment and musical instruments, none of which went with them. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh yeah, the museum in the basement, right?
The museum in the basement. That's a really great way to put it. We tackled it a room at a time, and it took us about a year to get rid of enough stuff that we felt comfortable. Oh, now we can let people in.
And it's emotional. I'm just starting that,
is.
and I'm opening boxes of like the cards they made for Mother's Day. And so what's funny is I'm taking pictures on my phone and texting them, going, remember this.
Well, and the funny thing is, millennials today, they want to be nimble, so they don't want to take all that stuff with them. And knowing their mindset really kind of helped us with the emotional part of it.
That you bring up a really good point. So, there's this kind of generational thing.
Yeah.
And I think that each generation has some incradible gifts.
Yes.
And millennials, that nimble,
Yes.
I love that about millennials.
I do too. And, I chatted with you yesterday and told you about my son, Tony, who, in the ultimate of nimbleness, decided to make a move to Australia for love and literally sold everything he owned and left here with 2 duffel bags and moved to Australia 3 years ago. And that was kind of an inspiration from us, And I think parents are always inspired by their own kids.
For sure.
So for us to see our son do that, it helped us.
He kind of charted the path for you a little bit there.
He really helped us out with that, and it's okay. Make memories. You don't have to hang on to everything.
It's not about stuff.
Yes.
As George Carlin used to talk about our stuff.
I love George Carlin.
So you're in the smaller space. You're living day to day.
Yeah.
And then you're launching a business, and you are in a smaller space. Talk to me a little bit about that.
And fortunately, my living in a smaller space, my husband did some very clever things, some IKEA hacks, and dual purposing pieces of furniture so that our small dining room table actually slides along a wall unit of shelves, which is also my office.
Nice.
Yeah, and anymore, it's so easy to keep things online. So I don't have to have a big filing cabinet and all of that. And the nice thing for us too, with the day-to-day stuff, my husband does sound at the State Theater at Playhouse Square. So running a business from my home has given me the flexibility so that if he's on the run of a Broadway show that comes into town, he has some time during the day free a lot. I can do my work kind of whenever. And so it gave us a lot more time to spend together.
And I think that's the thing we crave, because we were going through all these phases, and this is our time now.
Yeah, yeah.
I look at your career path.